Jurgen, the last game against Atleti was a great game to watch, but just what a yeah, what are the challenges of facing a Diego Simeone side, and what are you expecting in the game now?
Wow. Similar intensity. Atletico never, I don't think, in the history since Thiago's there, they never played a friendly game. So we should not expect that. And the situation in the group sets the level as well. So it's clear that Atletico probably needs 3 points, or thinks that they need 3 points, or stuff like this, or at least whatever. So, and we want to win the game with all we have, and we are at home, and we are. It's so long ago that we played a home game, a Champions League home game. It was AC Milan, but that's, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks ago or something like that. So, but we were so happy last year when we qualified for the Champions League that we really, because we knew we will have nights like this. So now a night like this is coming, and now we should celebrate it in a football way together with our supporters. And that Atletico is a good team, a very good team, incredibly good team. Everybody knows, difficult to play, everybody knows, but we will still give it a try.
Jurgen, you're managing a few injuries as any club does, but how does that potentially impact on your selection for tomorrow night? And maybe perhaps you could give us another update on Naby Keita. It didn't look good at the weekend, although I don't think you're able to say the full extent of the injury.
Yeah, we have a hamstring injury, so we'll be out for a while. And apart from that, obviously, Millie, clear. And the others rather long term out as well. But Fabinho and Thiago trained completely are in contention, which is good, obviously, very helpful. So we'll see. But injuries that period of the season completely normal, as long as they are not too harsh. We have to accept that. And so the players will be back hopefully soon, and then they are in contention as well again. But no, for tomorrow only the fit players.
Okay, thank you. We'll go around the room now. We'll go with Carl Markham, followed by James from TalkSport, and Carl. Thank you very much. Followed by Carl from BBC Merseyside. Carl Markham first, please.
Thanks, Matt. You all right?
Yeah, very good. Emotional. Go on, fire away.
Oh, too early to get emotional. Hi, Jurgen. I'm just wondering, a couple of your last few games, you've conceded 2-goal leads. I'm just wondering if that makes the feeling around this, it makes you appear more vulnerable to opponents, even if maybe you don't feel that way yourself.
That's the question again. So I heard we conceded 2 goals, and in the last
you twice conceded two 2-0 leads, yeah. Once against Atletico, then come back, and then against Brighton. Does that give that perception that you are more vulnerable than maybe you actually feel yourselves? You spoke about the defending on Saturday.
No, we are not perfect. I know that. I knew that before, and we have to defend situations better. That's absolutely clear. No doubt about that. But we had before, I don't know how many clean sheets Ali had this season already. So you cannot make these kind of discussions always like because of one game and beat United 5-0, and the world is very, what is the right word? Jose. And then the next moment you draw the 2-2 against Brighton, and you have massive problems. It's neither nor. We have to improve. That's what we know. And we have to, I said, after against Brighton, the best way would have been, the best way of defending would have been to keep the ball, to play the football we played in our good periods in the first half especially. And that's what we didn't do. And that was my problem. I knew before the game that we will have problems in moments against Brighton because all teams had it so far. That's just the quality of Brighton. They don't finish them situations always off, but against us they did. And that's why they deserve the point. But it has nothing to do with tomorrow. But we have to defend in general better. That was we knew that before, and we work on that, and we would better do it tomorrow night because Atletico is a pretty good football team.
Thank you very much, Carl. We'll go to James from Talksport.
Jurgen, how much of a boost would it be to progress from what is a really challenging group with 2 matches to spare? And what sort of achievement would that be when you consider the side you've taken on?
Of course, it would be big. It's just we usually don't have to talk about these kind of things because we usually have a final in the group, and I hope that we'll not have this year. Like with the last match day of the group stage, we need 1-0 or something like that, and it's not allowed the opponent scores at all, and all these kind of things. So of course we want to avoid that, but we cannot make a second step for the first step. So the first step is we have just to win against Atletico. Then that's already difficult enough, and what it means then, and what kind of achievement it would be, we can talk about afterwards. But that's not for the moment. For the moment, we have to prepare a football game against one of the best sides in the world, and one of the most determined sides in the world. So the best motivated sides in the world. So they obviously go for everything and that all the time, and that's what we know. Play them now the 5th time tomorrow. Tournament of Munich, I think, and then the 2 games 1.5 years ago. And now, so we know a lot about each other. So there should not be a lot of surprises. So we can prepare the game and play the best possible way we can. That's the idea.
Thank you. Now we go to Carl Woodward, one from the BBC. Carl.
Hi, Jurgen.
Hi.
On Naby Keita, it came off when you were 2-0 up on Saturday. How much of an impact did it have on the side for the rest of the game, and how much will you miss him now he's injured?
Yeah, it had an impact, but it's not nothing to do with off or whatever. But okay, we have clear patterns. If you watch us closely, then you see a couple of them. And the right side worked really well together with Naby, Trent, and Mo. That worked really well. And then Oxley came on, and Oxley obviously a completely different skill set. So it's a completely different player to Naby, a very good one as well, but different. And so that was, yeah, you could see it. That by the way, he set up the second goal. So as I said, it was not about Oxley. It's just about things, how you do them usually, and then you have to change them and these kind of things. Against a lot of opponents that would have been not that really obvious, but against Brighton it was. And that's all what you can say. So it was a lot about Brighton, how they used our weaknesses in that game. But that's it pretty much. So now we know what we can play, so we prepare it in a different way, maybe 2 different ways, and then we know exactly what everybody's doing.
Okay, I'm going to go around some of the overseas guys. I'm not sure whether we require the translation or not. I've got Sony India in the panel, but you've not turned the camera on. I'm not sure if you're just monitoring or if you want a question. It doesn't have an actual name to it. Sony India. Okay, we'll come to you in a second, Seth, but we'll go first of all to Fred from Brazil for one question. Then we will go to Andres de la Poza, who looks like he might be on the docks in Liverpool. And then we'll finish this section with Sony India and Paul Joyce. So
That looks like it's
no, it's very nice. No, it's very nice. It's down there on the front. Okay, so we'll go to Fred first of all. You talking about there, Fred?
Thanks, Matt. Hi, Jurgen. I'm sorry if this question is somewhat off topic, but last week we all saw Josh Cavallo, that plays in Australian League, coming out as a gay footballer, and he's the only one to do so in any top flight league in the whole world currently. And the history of male football doesn't give us many examples like Josh. You have more than 30 years in the industry. And is it possible to understand why male football seems not to be historically an open and safe environment for players and managers from different sexualities?
Actually, of course, I think we should not be like this. And, obviously, that Josh is doing that, and it's such a big story. That's actually the problem we have, obviously, that it's not normal, or that he has to make an announcement, and it's not just living his life, his private life, and nobody should be bothered about that. And what I can tell you, and the 30 years in the industry, how you said, I never had a dressing room where it would have been a problem at all. So the problem is not the inner circle. Obviously, the problem is the wider thing, and yeah, we all have to work on. Still, obviously, very disappointing that we have still to work on that, but we have to work on it. That's how it is. That these kind of things, that these kind of news are not necessary. Nobody has to make an announcement like that. Nobody has to open up in a. I didn't say that I'm hetero, so they didn't have to. So that these kind of things should be just completely normal. But we cannot change that now. Again, it's not in the dressing room. So if it's not in the dressing room, where is it then? How would the media deal with it? How did the media deal with it? I have no idea. How much they're pushing now in the middle of interest, stuff like this, or is it just going back to what he actually wants to do, playing football, these kind of things? Crowds in the stadium, that's how it is. They use. We had our thing in Manchester. They were shouting a few things where I didn't know why, to be honest. But these things, they try to, they try to give you some stake in a stadium, and if that would happen with these kind of things, for sure. So it's about being strong enough to get through this, man. I saw his speech or his announcement, and he looks like a really strong, smart young man, and I wish him really all the best. I'm really thankful that he did it, because now we talk again. I'm not sure when we spoke last time about this subject. Now we speak again, and that's always a good start for changing.
Thank you, Fred. Okay, 3 more questions, I'm afraid, and then we're going to have to probably leave it. We've probably got the maximum we can take. Andres, sorry, who's on the looks like the Albert Docks in Liverpool. Andres.
Yes, I am. I try to speak in English, okay? Hello, Mr. Klopp. Andres de la Poza from Deportes 4. I would like to ask you about Diego Pablo Simeone. You are going to be one of the most important stars in the game. He was talking about in his press conference about he doesn't shake the hands with the other coach after the game because he is very emotional. I don't know if you are agree with this behavior, and what do you think about Diego Simeone? He is talking about he respects you a lot as a coach, but he cannot talk about you as a person because he doesn't know. Do you think because you are passionate, you could be friends if you know yourselves? Thank you.
So I got everything, but I think the majority. So that's exactly how it is. I respect a lot what he's doing. I said that before and after the game. And but as private people, we cannot speak about each other because we can, of course, but we don't know each other pretty well. So that's the case. But I couldn't respect him more. The things he's doing at Atletico and for how long he's doing it, they're absolutely exceptional. In a really against a lot of really strong sides being in such a good position years after year after year. That's really impressive. Was there a question involved about the handshake?
Yes.
Whatever?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So how I said after the game, if I would have known he doesn't do it and I didn't know, then I wouldn't even tried it. Then I tried it. Then I was waving or whatever. That was not necessary for me. I was not happy with that. But you said how I know. We are both emotional, and that was my emotion then. Was not necessary, but now I know he doesn't want to do it after the game, so no problem. So before the game, we shook hands actually before the game, so we'll do that probably tomorrow night as well, I assume. But after the game, no, fine, absolutely no problem, and then we all can go home happily, at least in that department. And but in between the two handshakes. It's a very important game for us, and that's what I'm much more concerned about. That's what I'm much more thinking about. It will be a tough one. We know that, but it's our home ground, and we want other teams to feel that as well. We want to create a really special atmosphere tomorrow night in a highly emotional game. Not only managers are emotional, but the players as well. Both teams are really determined. It's great attitude. They fight for everything, and that's what we probably will see tomorrow night. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's a massive game against super side, but we are not too bad again.
Yeah, thank you, Andres. Enjoy the Liverpool sunshine. The final 3 questions now. We've got, I think, Rishab from sunny India next. Then we'll go to Diego and then Paul Joyce to finish. But Rishab, I hope I've pronounced your name correctly there.
Yeah, thank you. Hi again. Just wanted to ask, Liverpool have conceded like around 12 goals in the last 9 or 10 games after a very solid start. So has that been a defensive issue for you in the recent games, or is it compounded by the injuries in the midfield department for you?
So we conceded 12 goals in the last 9 or 10 games.
Yeah, after a solid start.
Okay. Yeah, look, we can talk about it. It's no problem. Yeah, we talk about that internally, you can imagine. We analyze goals to concede are obviously part of, and we talk about it. And most of the goals happen because something is not right. And that's what we're working on. Unfortunately, that's not a massive pattern now that the goals always happen in the same way. We have some things which we recognized, saw, and hopefully stopped. But then sometimes in football, the next game, different problem. We see the game as a complex game. It is, but we see it like it is a complex game, and that means you have to consider pretty much each part of the game. You have the ball, that doesn't mean you're only offensively, you need people in protection. You don't have the ball, that doesn't mean everybody's in a challenge, but you need help around, you need a good positioning for after winning the ball, all this kind of things. So that's how we see it. So that means the general thing is okay, but in details, we have to improve. We know that, and that's what we are absolutely working on.
Okay, thank you. Now we go to Diego Plaza. Diego, you're there? I think you were in your car a second ago. If you want to unmute and ask the question. I think we may have lost Diego, in which case that's fine. So Paul Joyce is definitely on. Paul, I don't know if you just want to unmute and ask the question. We'll go to you. Thomas.
Hi, Jurgen. I was just wondering how you reflect now on the Atletico game at Anfield in March 2020. I think it was one of the few times when you said that, or the only time when your mind wasn't fully on the football match. How do you look back at that, the events surrounding that game now, please?
Not too much really, but of course now before the home game again, you from time to time you have to think a little bit about it. But yeah, strange 18 months since then, really. The world turned parts upside down. Not sure we could have imagined that at night. I think we all, or most of us, had a sense of it, that something drastic can happen to us, and to the society, and that what happened. But in that night, I didn't know, obviously, to which extent. But yeah, it's 18 months ago. Crazy. You're right. It was the one game. When I thought about this game later, like in April, May, or whatever, after that, I was thinking it was the last game we played. I never thought about it like about a football game. Just in my mind, it was a really strange moment, to be honest. Before the game, after the game, everything what happened, the news you got before the game, the changes in Madrid. Here we were not that far, all these kind of things. Then all of a sudden, no mascots in the stadium, so you realize, oh, okay, somebody thinks that could be not good, and all these kind of things. It was really a strange situation. We were all in. We were probably in the stadium as well. And yes, I see it as that, but not as the football game. Yeah, we lost. We played, I think, if I'm right, we played a pretty good game, but we lost. And that's it.